So what I want us to do is to start becoming more conscious, start choosing things in a better way for ourselves, and start creating a life that's going to gear us to really take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for us in the years to come.
This podcast is brought to you by The Integrated Human. We work up, down, inside out to plug yourself into your potential. If you want to see what we are up to and what's next, sign up to our newsletter or follow us on social media. If you like what we are doing, we really appreciate it if you can like our post on social media and YouTube and help us grow.
Welcome to the Big and Small podcast. I'm Jason Shields and I'm big.
And I'm Eirik Gabrielsen and I'm the tiny one. Sorry.
But obviously very happy today because we have her beautiful husband, Eirik Gabrielsen.
Hello.
And one of our amazing athletes. Yes, okay, he's beautiful too. Rutger Custers. He's been with us at least once before, I believe twice, and Eirik's been with us a couple times as well.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, hallelujah. And if you haven't watched the podcast where we discuss losing everything and then winning, Eirik goes through an unbelievable story about him finding himself and working through adversity. And I think that that's one of the podcasts that we've gotten the most feedback on when it comes to people overcoming challenges. So go back to that podcast and listen up. So Dr. Eirik Gabrielsen, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again.
Pleasure. And we're finally through Corona crisis, and Rutger's back on the track to World Championship in Jiu-Jitsu. He's now training, and you're getting an education as a personal trainer as well.
I am.
It's a whole nother level, son. You excited?
I'm very excited, which is very new because I've never been excited to learn in a school. I've never enjoyed school. So This is completely new and different. So I'm looking forward to it.
Which is funny because Rutger is not only very intelligent, but actually is quite schooled. You know, he helped me work another athlete through their math lessons in order to get through high school and start their education. Has high-level math skills, high-level education, academic skills, but just has not had that passion for that direction. And now you suddenly have it again.
Yeah.
Congratulations. What was it that motivated you?
Well, that's a good question because I wouldn't say anything motivated me. It was just we were talking about it, and then Marit brought it up that, you know, that would actually fit very well with you as a person. And the more I thought about it, the more obvious it became that I like training, I like working out and being active. So if my day-to-day life can involve more training and more working out, that would just benefit me in every way possible.
Yeah, and understanding how to sharpen your own training,
exactly.
right?
That was why I started.
Yeah.
When I started my personal training education, I started just because I like training. Wanted to learn more about it, and then took it from there.
Yeah. So I'm doing this mostly for myself, actually, because as the same as you guys, I want to be able to look at my own training and my own working out and go like, what am I doing correctly? What am I doing wrong? Where could I improve? I mean, I've been lifting weights for a couple of years now, but I mean, if it wasn't for Marit, I would never have been able to do a squat because she showed me like 4 months ago how to do a proper squat, and she literally stopped me like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this is not good. And I'm like, what? So there is a lot to learn here. So I'm very, very curious, and I'm very eager actually to have a go at this and see how much I can pick up and work with, because I think there is going to be a lot.
Should just say it said you are the only one that's not a personal trainer in this room.
As of now.
That's actually true.
As of now. I have to lead. Let me have that for one more year.
Yes.
As for now,
Yes.
you're the only one.
Correct.
Enjoy it.
I will.
But, you know, I just wanted to point out that, you know, Eirik went through a process of realizing that engineering wasn't his thing, but caretaking and being a doctor of chiropractic was. He fulfilled something that's inside him, and you're doing that with your education. You're finding something that's actually serving you and interesting for you, that's building you. And then that is something you can share with other people. So you're building your own value, you're building your own interest, you're building your own passion, you're gaining tools, whether or not you even have one client ever. You're building tools that are interesting for you, and then you can share that and monetize that, perhaps, right? So many people go into their educations because they're supposed to get an education, but they don't know what direction. They pick something that their friends are doing because they don't want to leave their friends. They pick something that sounds like it would be good in the future, or that it pays. It's going to be, oh, that's going to be a paycheck. My friends, most of you that are picking your educations don't even know what the life you're going to have looks like when you're finished with your education. You know, when I went into chiropractic, for example, I went there. I chose it over medical school. I had a full ride scholarship to Johns Hopkins, which is one of the better medical institutions in the world, actually. And my advisor said, don't do it. And I'm like, what do you mean don't do it? You helped me get the full scholarship. And he's like, no, I don't do it because I've done it and I've changed my specialty and now I'm not working as that anymore. It's a very difficult, dirty, and stressful job. Being a medical doctor is super, super, super demanding. And don't you have a chiropractor in the family? I'm like, yeah, of course. My dad's a chiropractor, but that's why I want to become a medical doctor. He said, yeah, but you want to help people. Yeah. Well, you can do that with medical techniques and tools, but chiropractic directly touches the patient. And I, as a medical doctor, often set a diagnosis, give a medicine, and then hope to never see the patient again, where you go through a process. And how much more valuable is that? The same thing with personal training. You go through a process with a patient or a person, maybe patients, because you can help rehab people. And you really get to involve yourself in their life. And if you're that kind of person, it's the most rewarding thing in the world. So then I went on to become a chiropractor. So I could have become a medical doctor for free, for free. And then I paid rather to become a chiropractor. And I don't regret it a moment. And I admire all the people who have chosen the medical path because it's such a difficult path. At the same time, I'm so grateful to chiropractic and so grateful to being able to work with people on a physical trainer or personal trainer and physical therapy level as well, because that's such a valuable thing to rehab people's capacity. So getting your education now is different than it was when you were 18, right?
Big time.
When did you, because you chose the hardest path in high school to basically go into the hardest subjects, right?
Yeah. The last time I tried to go to school, I basically tried to do the hardest level possible, 2 years in 1 year. So I literally had days where I would start at school at 9:30 and be done at 5. And every class was double classes. And you would just get information thrown at you. And then you needed to go home and do like a chapter per subject of homework.
How long would that take?
Oh, it's completely depending on if you get it or not.
Yeah.
Because if you get it, you might sit with it for an hour. But if you don't, there's no point.
So it's from an hour to infinite amount. Yeah.
Basically.
Never ending.
Yeah, never ending.
And the problem is there is not really like question hour. So the next day you continue to the next chapter. So by the end, you just like if you don't get it after a week, you're gone. Like, it goes so fast. So I started, and I think by autumn I was drowning. And then I just stopped going.
Just for people that's listening, because we have people from every part of the world.
Yes, that's right.
So it's very fun, and thank you everyone that's listening. You didn't go to high school in Norway. You went in the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands.
So because we also have a lot of Norwegian, and in Norway you can't do 2 in 1 year. I haven't heard about that at least. I know I know you can do that in Belgium, but you can also do that in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And most likely in the States, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it's different.
Yes.
Mm.
And that just went bad, and then of course they had tests, and I didn't even go, because what's the point? Like, I had no clue what we were doing at this point.
Yeah.
So that just crumbled and didn't work out, and I just being 18 and finding it hard to ask for help, I just isolated and got in fights with the family, because they were trying to take care of me, of course, but I just felt like they were pushing me,
nagging
and doing all the stuff you don't want to do.
Yep.
And of course, when you get love and attention while you don't feel good, you're not gonna receive it. You're gonna make the other person make you give hate, because that's how you feel.
Yeah, you want to project.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, your actions don't represent my inside feeling, therefore I'm going to do something to you to make sure that you give me back what I want to feel.
Yes. So it was just a negative spiral that basically ended with me having to go to my parents and be like, I don't want to do this. I'm not doing well. And they went like, yeah, we noticed. For some reason, there was a very somber swear. Like in
your mom didn't go like, huh?
Yeah.
Your mom like pops open the alcohol and says, pour one out for our math homie. Like he's done. He's like done.
They were like, thank you for making this decision. And after that, it lightened up, and I not having to deal with that stress was just very, very nice.
Well,
so it's
you know, in many languages, in Latin languages and Norwegian and other Scandinavian languages, they have the difference between utdannet and dannet, or basically educated and I would say that the word is
Well-mannered?
well-mannered. Yeah, I would say cultured.
Cultured.
Is the proper word.
Proper.
But
Cultured.
proper
And cultured.
cultured, right?
Because it's a very big word. So I
Yes,
think you need to
it's-
have proper and cultured.
proper, cultured, and perhaps even seasoned.
Ooh.
Yes, seasoned. There's a little slash of seasoned there, right? So the point is that the education at that time wasn't appropriate, and you needed to have more cultural and being culturally, basically, and seasoning before you were ready to find out what really served you. Because there's this trend now. Oh man, everybody gets a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, man. You don't need to do that to become successful. Look at all the people who are successful that didn't finish college. Yeah, but those are the exceptions, because they knew what they wanted, they knew who they were, and they knew what they needed in order to develop themselves. Just like you're doing now, is something that you're doing for you. You know that you want those skills, that information. And how attentive are you going to be at school? How interesting is it going to be?
Oh, I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're
which
stoked.
is something I've never ever said about school.
You have some big smile on your
Yeah.
face.
Right? And imagine if all kids were like that going to school, right? Because you're there to build yourself.
I think you got a lot of burden that you need an education. You had that a lot in the beginning before you found your passion for what you
Well,
needed
yeah,
to do.
I come from a family, like we discussed, of academics. So I was always there. I was always supposed to get an education.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Exactly.
was the path.
Exactly.
I have 3 bachelors and I don't use any of them
Yeah. Right?
because that's not my passion. I have done it because I felt I needed to study.
Yeah. And there is some seasoning and culturing in getting an education. Just, let's say if you get a master's degree in English, but you work in business or whatever, it's not really appropriate to your academic path. But at the same time, because you have chosen to educate yourself and you've put yourself through the fire of college, there is some reward for that. There's some internal structure built. But that internal structure can be built getting a job, going through hard times. That's the culturing and the seasoning comes from so many different things.
I think for me it built a lot of capacity because
Yeah.
I like working more than I like to study. So I started NTNU, or I started another university, and after 2 months I was in a full-time job instead and studying.
And studying. I remember.
So I did a lot of multitasking.
Yeah.
So I have very big capacity now, which serves me very well doing the clinic here with you and then doing integrated human and jiu-jitsu on the side.
And the Big and Small podcast.
And the Big and Small
Oh,
podcast.
God, you're not busy. You're not busy at all. No.
But it built the capacity to do that because I've been used to having more things happening at once.
Yeah, exactly.
And the reason why I took personal training for 2 reasons. 1, I like training, and 2, I would like to keep the fire going on learning. I wouldn't stop. I didn't want to stop to learn.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep that rolling.
Yeah.
And that has helped also. And I just switched to what I find interesting.
And I think that they did a job satisfaction survey, and of all different professions of this one survey that I read, I think the number 1 was personal training, because people are so satisfied with it once they get it moving and they have a client base and they work with that. They're enjoying themselves so much, and it's paid quite well when you're good. When you're good at what you're doing, and that's just amazing. And the changes that you can see in people's lives, because 90% of the population doesn't do their exercise or train. So when they start training, they need help. They need to know how to train so they don't wreck themselves, because most people start training and they get injured in the first 3 months and they're out because they're like, oh, I don't want to get hurt, or oh, it was too hard, or they
Not sure if I'm doing it right.
Exactly.
Or they start jogging after not have been able to jog for a year, and then they all of a sudden have a inflammation in their knee.
Yep.
Maybe they're 10 kilos heavier than they used to be. And I wonder why I get injured.
Yep, exactly. And I tried to tell him, don't worry, Biggie. Big guys don't have 6-packs. You're okay, bro. You're okay, bro.
This it said, Eirik, stop jogging. I said, you're not a jogger.
Well, that's true. He should have at that point stopped jogging. Yeah, there's so many other things to do with his life than that. It's just the body's not built for it. He's a beefy guy. He can do all kinds of things: roll jiu-jitsu, train weights, go biking, swim. Go for walks. But long distance jogging, probably not the best thing when you're over 90 kilos.
No, fortunately.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Stupid physics.
Yeah. And that's what people don't actually understand, that there is a strength to weight ratio in the human race. There is a certain cross between, like if you take tennis players, there's a certain body type that's optimal. Anything outside that costs you something. Doesn't mean you can't be great. Doesn't mean you can't be even the best, but you have to compensate for that lack of being in that perfect zone. Same thing with jiu-jitsu. It turns out that basically all the world champions, the absolute world champions, are between like 95 and 115 kilos. It's like, that's the cross. If you're heavier than that, you're too slow. If you're smaller than that, you're not strong enough. Just what it is. There's a cross, in certain sports. And I'm just going to tell you, if you're over 85 kilos, you will never be an amazing bicyclist or specialist in running hills. It's just not going to happen. And I defy you guys out there to prove me wrong. Thank you very much.
He's going to be very angry if you do. He tried for 5 years.
Yeah, I tried for 5 years.
And if you know Jason, he goes way too much and way too hard and way too into stuff. He has all the bikes and all the books and have read and watched
all
and
the
done
research.
everything.
Yeah.
He did it, but we're never that good.
Yeah, and because I became a world champion in jiu-jitsu out of my frustration of not being a great bicyclist, right? Because I'm like trying to follow these guys in the hills. It's just not possible.
Well, downwards it goes very fast.
Down it goes really good, but man, as soon as we hit those hills, if you're over 85 kilos, stop it. Just stop it. Get a motor.
So, wish you did now.
Yeah, I got a motorcycle. You know what? Marit is my motorcycle master. It's true. She's out there trying to show me how to ride, show me what to do, show me how to handle the bike. You know what I'm saying? And she's doing a great job. And I'm riding that beautiful bike. It's an Indian Scout Bobber 20. Look it up and appreciate. It's amazing. 1,131 cc's of deliciousness. Yeah, she's shaking her head, of course. Yeah. It's a great bike.
It's a nice bike.
Thank you.
It's a
Fantastic
bike.
bike.
It's a bike, right? That's a person who's been riding a long time. That's just a bike. Yeah, but
Stupid guys.
Yeah. You should hear that thing go, man. So, anyway, I wanted to talk about, since we have two guys here, we have Dr. Eirik, who is starting his career as a chiropractor with basically stars and explosions. He's owning his own clinic now, partner with two other guys, super successful. His patients love him. He's growing constantly on word of mouth. People are sending their mothers and grandmas and their kids, and it's just, we're all super proud of him, and people are just happy. Okay. And then you have Rutger, who now he has a solid job. He serves the community, keeps kids safe at the pool. He's a lifeguard, and he's an athlete. And now he's taking a step forward to get the education to move into possibly his career of choice in the long run. He's going to taste that and see what it is when he gets there. But I just wanted to talk to these guys a little bit about financial security and about making money and about being financially free. So before your education, this literally before your education and before your education, did you guys have any thoughts about what your life was going to look like when you were finished?
I don't think I had, no clue.
Right?
I think I had I'm very good at having a picture of the perfect moment, 10 years ahead, but nothing specific.
So what was your moment?
I think when it was engineering, it was probably designing some amazing health app.
Yeah, then he was definitely should be in health, right?
Again, go back to episode 2.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna hear the whole story around this. It's a good story.
Yeah. But when it came to chiropractic, no, I don't think I had any vision at all.
No. Interesting. And you, Rutger, what about you?
No, I've not looked forward to studying, and I haven't wanted to study in a long time. So the thought never crossed me that I'm actually gonna finish this one. Not that I'm not going to. I really want to do this, so I have a good feeling about this. But I haven't thought about it because it's gonna work. And like I said, I'm doing this more for me.
Yeah.
If I never have a single client as a personal trainer, then that's fine because I'm very interested into learning this myself. So there is no thought, there wasn't I'm going to be a personal trainer and then in the first year I want to have helped 10 people reach their goal in lifting weights. Never crossed my mind until you asked the question. So no.
You're gonna think about that tonight.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. And do you know why? What's more important? Where you are after your education or where you are after you've taken a car trip?
Okay, the podcast has not stopped.
Okay.
Just so that's
I'm
this is I understand.
processing.
People are processing here because
Think about it.
Can you say that one more time?
What's more important? Where you are after your education in your life or taking a car trip?
I would say education. But
Yeah, education, right?
Yeah.
So the next question is, have you ever sat yourself into a car to start to drive without having a clear idea of where you were going?
That's not me.
okay, I have to just, if you are one of our dear listeners listening on YouTube, on Spotify or Buzzsprout or one of these, go into YouTube, watch after 24 minutes and 10 seconds and look at their faces.
You know when it's so obvious? and you don't see it, and now it's like, yeah.
It's a very good point,
that-
though.
Yes, yeah.
But it's interesting how we decide to do things, right? And we're doing it on feeling, but at the same time, we don't really project into the future what we actually want. Do you think that you're more likely to get what you want if you have a picture of what you want before you start? And I'm not saying that picture doesn't change, but we don't allow ourselves to have any long-term goal or picture of what we want in our lives. And do you think that affects us and what we get and how quickly and how much we get in the long run? Of course it does, right? So when you're single-minded about being successful, you're going to be more successful than if you're not. So at the same time, when you sit your butt into a car or you sit on your motorcycle, sometimes you can just go driving, but when it comes to where you're going to go with your life, you need to know. So what are you going to think about tonight, Rutger?
What I'm gonna do with my education.
Yeah, buddy.
How it's gonna look.
How it's going to look. That's it. Be conscious. Be conscious, right? So another thing is, did you know how much a chiropractor made financially before you took the education?
Just that they had the potential to make a good amount of money.
Yeah, a good amount. Did you have a specific amount?
No.
Yeah, right? And what about you?
I had no idea.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to say that when you are serving people and service to people is your thing, I think it's not a negative thing not to think about the money, because you're serving people because you want to serve people, not to make cash. I never touched a patient. I never touched anybody thinking that I was going to get money for it. The money was always just a byproduct of the service and the system that I was working in, if you understand what I'm saying. But it's very interesting that we don't always understand that you need to get paid for what you're doing. We often are very enthusiastic about what we're doing, so much so that we love people and we love what we're doing, that we just want to give it to everybody and everybody should have it, right? Then you know you're passionate enough to do that job. Okay, that is the definition. But on the other side of it, there has to be some kind of wealth building strategy. And I'll tell you a story. Marit and I arranged a webinar for the integrated human that's free online.
Yeah, it will be free online when this podcast is out. That webinar is gonna be out in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Because you have to be on the webinar live to get the full experience.
Get the full experience.
Right away.
Yeah, that's true. That's
and you
true.
can ask questions and all that stuff.
But in a month's time or 2 weeks, you were saying, then basically the webinar is about how to be happy and rich, right? And the definition of rich, of course, is up to you, whether that is millions and millions of dollars or if that's just rich in free time or whatever. But part of that is understanding that you have to have a wealth building strategy. And one of the stories that I was telling was about a chiropractor called Guy Riekman. And Guy Riekman was an amazing chiropractor. This guy had like a golden touch. People were getting well left and right. And he was so enthusiastic, so passionate about his job, about his function, about his mission to help people. You know, he said, I don't adjust bones. I don't fix backs. I help grandmothers pick up their grandkids. I help people go back to work and feed their families. I help, the industry in America keep their workers on the floor and help make America strong. Guy Riekman, what a wonderful guy. Okay. And I believe he's now the president of Life College, Life University, in Atlanta, Georgia. So his passion has taken him a long way in the profession, right? But he started his practice not taking paid for what he was doing. He had his waiting room and he had a box, okay? Literally a box, like a crate, an apple crate, nailed to the wall with a rug in the bottom so the coins wouldn't drop through. And he said, please leave me whatever you felt you got from me in value. Right? And
it sounds so nice.
It sounds so nice, right?
It sounds so
so nice. And it's the intention's so beautiful. And he was a lightning bolt of a therapist. This guy was getting everybody well. They were referring their kids and their grandma and their neighbors and people downtown were coming to him. Like people were traveling 2 states to come and get adjusted by this guy. He was working from 7 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. The guy was just not, and he was laughing to my dad, who's a chiropractor. He said, I'm glad I'm really busy. And my dad said, why? He said, because I don't have time for lunch. And he said, is that a good thing? Yeah, because I can't afford it. Because people are leaving me a pair of socks and 3 eggs.
Mm. At least he had eggs.
Right. Well,
could make an
he can make an
omelet.
omelet for dinner, right? But he said, I can't make my car payments. And what's this thing? If you give something, you receive 10 times back, right? And I think that's in the Bible. The whole point is that, and you out there that you're listening to this, you may think, oh, those are bad people. Those are not bad people. Now let me do a thought experiment with you. Okay. So let me just say that deal that Guy Riekman was giving his patients, you got from your local grocery store. You could eat for free. You just had to give them what you felt you got in value. How many, and if you're really honest with yourself, how many of you would actually give anything or would just go in and take the food and leave? Right? And if you give something, you may give something for the service or whatever, but would you actually give as much as you actually pay at the grocery store? You wouldn't. And you're like, excuse me, sir. No. The thick steak back there, the one you've been hiding. The Kobe. Give me the Kobe, right? You wouldn't take the cheap stuff either because you're eating for free, would you? You take the best stuff. And why is that? It's because we're humans and we don't really understand our connection to our environment, just like we don't understand our connection to our future, right? Because we want to feel good. So we do something on feeling, like getting an education, but we don't necessarily understand the relationship to what's going to happen to you in 2 years when you're finished with your education, or 3 years or 5 years, or how your practice and your family is going to look in 10 years. Does it make sense? So Guy Riekman broke. He had to close his office because he couldn't pay his rent.
I think that's one of the things you don't think about, the service people are providing and how much it costs people to have a business, like the grocery store. They have to pay their employees, they have to pay insurance, they have to pay for the food to get there, they have to pay electrical bills. It's so many. Like if we have a clinic here, you don't. If you pay, you pay 420 crowns for a session. You don't sit back with 420 crowns.
Exactly.
Because you have to pay for the clinic to run.
That's it.
The grocery store has to pay for the grocery store to exist. But we kind of forget that. And the same, like we had in the last podcast, we talked about creating value for your workplace. Yeah, the workplace are paying you, but they have also a lot of other expenses. So if they're being hard on you, it's maybe not you. That's the reason, because electrical bills went up, or it could be so much more.
Yeah.
It's a very big picture here.
That's it. It's a very big, and though your life is intimate, it's not personal, because most people are so busy taking care of themselves or dealing with themselves that whatever they do to you is not actually meant personally. It's just what happens. So my friends, do not waste your time waiting for other people to value you. Don't waste your time waiting for other people to see how valuable your service is. Be passionate about what you're doing, so much so that doing it is the reward. That's how you get rich. You find something that you're so passionate about, that you're so passionate, you want to do so much that you don't even have time to spend the money you get. That's number one. And then you have a strategy so that you actually make more money than it costs you to do that thing. And you're like, well, people don't want to pay me for my special skills. In this world of social media, in this world of 100 million eyes on you all the time, believe me, people are making money modifying weird things that you attach to your mobile phones. Okay? Like, there is so much stuff out there that people will buy and want to buy, and things that you can do. If you are really good at what you do, people will pay you for it. That's the point. And it's never been as obvious as it is now. Okay?
I think you get more and more people want more and more to pay for things that people are passionate about.
Yes.
I think we see that. I feel that at least. I'm willing to pay more for a service people or that people are passionate about.
Yeah.
If the people that are doing it, making it, working with it are passionate about it and doing it, I'm willing. I don't care what it costs.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think it's a very good quote from Simon Sinek. People don't buy what you do; they buy why you do it.
Yeah, that's very often the case. They buy basically that touch of passion. They really do. And you know, there's this thing that we have these things we think about rich people. Oh, they step on the small people. Oh, they don't care. They just focused on the money.
They
Or
must
they
have cheated someone.
They cheated someone. Yeah, exactly.
Someone had to suffer because he's making money.
Exactly. Right? Because we have this thing that we must prostitute our dreams in order to become successful in this society, because society is awful and society doesn't understand your dream. But what society's waiting for is you to be passionate about yourself and what your dreams are enough to make that obvious and valuable for society. Do you understand? So it's not that you have to prostitute your dreams for money. If you do that, you actually miss out on being you and providing your greatest passion for society. And you get punished by that. You get punished for that by being a person who's trying to be like Kanye West or be like, you know, whoever. Copycats don't work well because people know that you're not you. They feel it, like you say. They buy who you are, right?
Exactly.
So be that special person. Do that special thing, but do it so much, so intense, shine your light so much that everybody can see it, right? Now, it's kind of like in this world of social media as well. Everybody has to be, oh, well, I'm a model on Instagram. Good for you, but how many people are doing that? Do you? You know, and you have to, oh, I have to, you know, put some pounds on my butt because I have to get junk in the trunk because then otherwise people won't like my posts. Man, do something different. If you don't have junk in the trunk and that's not your thing, then why are you gonna make that thing? Because that's somebody else's thing, and they're already there rocking that shit. So find out what you're passionate about and rock that. And you're like, well, I don't know what I'm passionate about, Jason. What do I do with that? Well, until you know what you're truly passionate about, what you want to burn your internal house down for, then try to be the best at whatever you're doing. So whether that's making coffee for people, if that's, you know, cleaning streets, if that's being a lawyer, if that's being a pilot, please be a good pilot. Okay?
Please.
Please. COVID's over. We're going to be flying. Please be a good pilot, please. You know, like be the best. Yeah, that's it. Because the skills that you accumulate by trying to be absolutely excellent at what you're doing right now, regardless of whether that's the thing you can do the rest of your life, will be available to you when you finally find your passion. And do you want to have a whole 20 years of being crappy at a job you didn't think you wanted and then finally get the opportunity to really go for it, but then you're not really good because you've practiced for 20 years being shitty? Or do you want to be a person who's been awake and filling up your spot? And then when you finally get that opening, because that's what happens to people who fill up their present place, what happens is they get opportunity. Is that true, Marit?
Yes.
Have you gotten opportunity?
I gotten all the opportunities.
Yeah, and you bust the freaking walls down. You fill your place up and you blow the doors off, right?
Yeah, I love working. I love working. I love seeing progress. I love moving forward.
That's it. All
and
the way.
I've been a cleaner. I've been a personal trainer. I'm now a receptionist. I've been a second lieutenant in the army. I've
Jiu-jitsu fighter.
Jiu-jitsu fighter. Like I've done
Mentor,
so much.
Podcast
This is now. I'm not done with blowing these walls, but it's everything comes from, like I said, I started doing my personal training because I like training. So then I want to learn more about that. Took that. And then I found out, okay, I like leadership. let's move that direction. And I understood I didn't kind of want a job in it. I needed to know some stuff about it. So I took the army. I went to the military academy. So it's kind of just pushed, but it's always been driving in the direction of my interest and passion all the time.
I remember you decided to go to the army while we were going to the gym as we were getting the personal training education.
Yeah, we were
So it's always
walking
been
and I asked you,
Next.
yeah,
step.
can I take leadership education in the Norwegian army? And you said, yes, you can. I said, okay, I'm doing that. Should have done more research.
Yeah, what's my life going to look like when I'm there?
Should have done that.
Yes.
What will it be to be the only woman that's then 22 with a bunch of guys that's 18? Should have done, but also happy I didn't in the way that I don't think I would have done it.
Right. Yeah.
But I always had a clear thought about how it's going to look, because I wanted to work with people and educate people. So it was also, I didn't have the how much money and how that's going to look, but I had a goal with it.
Yeah. Exactly.
The personal training was, I want to learn more about my training so I can train better. The leadership was, I want to be a leader, but I want them to have the education to be and learn how to be a good leader. So, and then I could teach others. That was kind of my thought around it.
Which is coming back now.
Yeah.
You know, because you guys don't know this, but because of the podcast and what Marta has shared about her process through the integrated human process, she's actually affected the way the police department in Belgium works. One of the officers there, because of the podcast, he sent me a message and said that I stepped up and became a mentor and cleaned up actually quite toxic environment in the police because we were having some personnel issues. And now I'm one of the guys who's fixing that. Thank you so much. Right. But that's power. That's leadership. You're holding excellence and you're sharing it. Right. That's real leadership.
Yeah,
And that's what you're
leadership
doing.
looks so much different than you thought it would.
Yeah.
And that's what I figured out with everything I've done, is that how I thought it looked, it has been so much bigger, so much better. I couldn't have imagined how it would look. But having a thought, an idea of what you want to do with it helps. And then ask someone that are in the field. I think that's very interesting that we don't ask people.
Yeah. Right.
Like if you want to be a personal trainer, ask a personal trainer. How does your day look?
Yeah. Like,
what
do you do?
have you didn't actually, that I've thought about now. I don't think you asked Jason that question, Eirik.
What does it look like to be a chiropractor?
No. Did you?
No. I think he did a really good job trying to tell me.
Yeah, I was trying. I was trying.
But I don't think I realized it until I was here observing, and that was probably around year 3.
4.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
3 or 4 out of 5 years. So, yeah. Quite a while into the education.
And I think that's a very good advice. If you're thinking about studying or taking more education or learning something new, ask a person that are excellent in their field, how does your day look like?
And be ballsy.
Yeah.
Be ballsy. Say, if Ida came to me and said, "Hey, man, could you please tell me how it is to be a chiropractor? And in fact, would it be okay if could you tell me who you admire in the field? Like, who are your heroes in the field? And go talk to them as well. Because talk to the best guys.
And then get a feeling of
Yeah.
what that could look like.
Yeah.
And then you have a set mind. And you can also see then, this is not for me. You can kind of get the feeling of what's to come. And I
That's it.
think, why don't we do that?
Yeah.
You go in Norway, at least, when you are in high school. No, not high school. What's it called? High school.
High school.
High school.
Yeah.
You get all these universities, and they tell you how it is to study the subject and how that looks like. You never talk to an actual engineer. I have no clue what an engineer does. I have no clue. I know how the education looks because I've heard about it many times.
Yeah.
I have no clue who they are.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they make. I know some make a lot of money, but don't know if that's everyone.
right?
I have no clue.
Yeah. A lot of people don't really orient themselves at all about the way life looks after education until after education. And they're like, oh, shit, you mean I just don't have a job waiting for me? Or, oh, my God, you mean I'm a medical doctor and I have to build a practice? Huh? Don't I just get money because I'm awesome? Like,
If you're gonna be a nurse, find out what that looks like.
yeah. What is your top wage?
What's your top wage?
Yeah.
Do you work shifts? How can you get more education
Yeah.
later? If you're gonna be an architect, what type of architect can you be?
Exactly.
And are you the one that's gonna work at the best firms and only get the? I think you should get the contrast. So what's like I did with the physiotherapist
Right.
when I thought about studying physical therapy. I asked you,
Yeah.
and you said, well, you want to work with the Norwegian handball team. You may be able to do that, but the chance that you work with older people that will need you,
Yes.
but that's your path. Listen to episode 1.
Yes.
Is very high.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, I only want that 5%. I'm not interested in the other 95.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe I don't have actually the passion to live my life in that job.
Yeah.
And I found something else, which I'm very happy with now.
Oh, I'm so happy.
But I think we need to
Yeah.
start looking at, ask the questions.
Ask the
I wonder why I
questions,
didn't do that now.
No.
Why didn't I
Yeah,
ask
but
the
every time you
questions
sit your
then?
butt in the car, you know where you're going, but you get yourself in education, you don't know what it's going to look like. Think about it, right? Now I have another interesting question. I believe is interesting. I think it'll be interesting for other people. And that is financially free. Don't you want to be financially free?
Yes.
So define what that means for you guys. What does that mean, being financially free?
It would mean that I don't have to look at my account to see how much money there is and just buy like the food that I want to eat. And of course, like when you go on trips, you need to make sure that you're not spending it all, but that you can do that so that you can live the life you want without having to stress about, okay, now I'm going on a trip, so now I need to eat rice and tuna for a month to save up for the trip.
A lot of people do that just to get the 6-pack so they can go to the trip to the beach and look good. Just saying.
I mean,
That's why you want to do that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not because you have
That's
to. Yeah.
If you have to, it's not as much fun as if you want to do that. So,
Choose to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that would mean for me to be financially free.
I've been looking at this a lot
Because he wants to turn a piggy bank into a biggie bank.
Exactly.
Biggie, tell me what's up. Come on.
I really like the term financially independent.
Uh-huh.
And for me, that's going to be when I have not only wages, but like a passive income
Okay.
that's higher than my expenses.
Okay.
So I don't have to work, but I choose to work, and I can work as much as I want.
Interesting.
I will like, or I will have, it's not what I will like, I know I will have so much income that I know all my what's it called in English, faste utgifter.
Yeah. Basically, it's called, there's a weird name for it. It's called your basic nut.
My
Which
basic
is-
nut.
Yes, which is, what you have to crack
Yeah.
every month in order
I
to
want
survive.
my basic nut to be covered.
Which is insurance, rents.
Yeah, I want that to be
all of your
covered.
normal expenses, guys. Just make sure that
Yeah.
you're adding in, because you should know how much it costs you to live every single month.
Yeah, and this includes food and
yeah.
everything. So I want my basic nut to be covered.
Yeah.
And then have knowing that I have more than that. I do not want so much money that I have to I have to balance them and figure out where to put them to save my money and take care of my money, because I don't want to have to manage my money. That's work. I like having enough money, but I don't like having to think about where to put them to save more, because at one point when you get too much money gets work. It's work. You have to start finding out where to put them, because you have 100 million or something, and you don't want to.
It's hard to put that in your mattress.
Yeah, you can't put that in your mattress, and if you don't choose to put them in the right place, they may actually go down to 80. And let's be fair, 80 is still way too much money to use, but you still lost 20 million.
Yeah, that's actually that. If I can interrupt just for a moment, Chuck Mellon, the guy who's made more money on the options market in the world, he's in the Guinness Book of World Records. Okay, $500 million portfolio in and out of the options market. He said, "You don't understand. I'm rich. I'm really rich. I'm really, really rich. But I'll tell you a secret." And I'm like, "What?" He said, "Jason, $1,000 still $1,000. I don't want to lose. You want to lose $1,000? Hell no. I don't want to lose $1,000 either. And think I have 500 million to worry about."
That's the whole point.
That's the point.
That's some stress I don't want to have. So I want to have a basic nut covered. I also want the freedom to buy what I want. If I want a motorcycle, or if I want to go on a trip, I want to be able to do that without having to eat tuna and rice for a month. But I don't have the need to have so much that I have to then start working my money.
Yeah.
Because that I don't have time for. That's not my passion. That would just lead to stress. And then I'm not free.
Exactly. Now I'm going to ask you an interesting question. I know you pretty good, right?
Good with what?
I know you pretty well.
Oh, yeah, you know me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is there a person that knows me better than you know me?
Don't think so, no.
No, right? Do you have overview of my finances?
Yeah.
Am I financially free?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depending on how you look at financial free, but in the way we just described it, yes.
Yeah. Do I have to think about what motorcycle I buy?
No.
I just point.
Yes.
Yes. Do I ever think about whether I have enough money for food or not?
No.
Would I do or not?
No.
Would I travel or not?
No.
Would I sponsor or not?
No.
Yeah, exactly. I'm completely untouched by my finances because my finances are constantly enough for my expectation and my interests. My finances are suitable and appropriate for my life of living passion and focusing on the things that I feel are important. True or not true?
True.
That's it. So the things that I'm telling you guys, the things I'm asking you to focus on are the steps that I took in order to become financially free. You need to know where you're going. You need to have a vision of what you want. You need to understand that you need a wealth building strategy because you cannot wait for people to value you or what you're doing at the appropriate level because they're good people and they love you. But guess what? They're so busy with what they're doing, you can fix everything in their lives and they won't even know it. And it's not because they're bad and it's not because you're not valuable. It's not because what you're doing is not correct. It's because they don't have the inner resources to follow that up.
How often aren't you disappointed because you did something for someone and they did not appreciate or value what you did for them?
Yeah, that's right.
You don't feel that they appreciated what you did for them, and you laid on everything. You did everything you could for them, and they can't see it.
Yeah. I have people walk into my clinic and they're like they're bent sideways and they look like a crowbar. Like they're so bent, and I adjust them once and they're almost completely straight in their back. And they're like, so when am I going to start feeling better? And I'm like, you realize you can walk through a door now? You had to walk sideways in. When people are so oblivious to improvement, so oblivious to things in their lives, because they're so worried about, I have to be well to pick up my grandkids because I'm going to have to watch them all weekend. I'm going to have to go to work and I can't miss a day because I'll get fired. In America, they have at-will states where if the boss comes in a bad mood, he can just fire you. Doesn't have to give you a reason. Just get the fuck out, right? That's the kind of stress I live with. Not like that in Norway, guys. Move to Norway. Anyway.
But when we had lunch before we made this podcast today.
Yeah.
I know having coffee with a podcast, but how many of us thought about the people there as workers, the people that were working there? We had three different people were handling and serving us.
Yeah.
How many of us thought they are actually working?
Not me.
And appreciated them for working. Because we were sitting there having conversation and coming with food. Because they're working. When you drop by your kids, you're standing in the register and you're in the grocery store and you're having two screaming kids and putting up the pizzas and the tacos you're gonna make for the weekend, the person behind the register is still working. And if that was you working, having to be there for 5 more hours, wouldn't it be nice to be appreciated for the service you are providing?
Absolutely. At least be met with a smile and eye contact. But that's the whole point. People are so involved in their own lives, it's very difficult to expect that. So don't let your passion be dependent on other people's valuing you. Do you understand? And that's what I'm saying, that very often when you're living your passion, you're living your dream, you may not be rewarded in the beginning because people can't see you until you're burning bright. You have to be a bonfire until people just can't avoid seeing you, seeing how amazing you are, right? Picasso did not paint because he thought his paintings were going to be sold on auction for millions and millions at Harrods in London, right? He painted because that's what he did. That's who he was. He needed to get that out of his heart and onto canvas. Does that make sense? So if you still don't have that passion in your life, or you're working and you're working with something that you're not passionate about, at least hone your skills as a person and try to show up 100% every day, because those opportunities will come. And sooner or later, that spark of inspiration, that open window, that thing that lets that bird of inspiration, that idea come to you, will be there. Just like it is with Rutger right now, right? It wasn't right before. He's been cultured and seasoned now, and he's been showing up and doing the job, taking more responsibility, dealing with personnel issues, dealing with management of things and systems, saving people's lives, making people safe where he's working. And now the next step, it's time. Right? How amazing it's so cool.
I'm very, very happy with how it's going. And I'm definitely looking forward to the future.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
But you're also much more aware now around your surroundings, and that makes things happen more for you as well.
I think that's key in like being present enough. Like you have to develop that presentness.
Yeah. Presence.
Thank you.
Presentness.
Yeah.
He went
You wouldn't
to
think it
school
would be-
in England for
Yes,
5 years.
Yes, yeah, right.
That was 2 years ago now, though.
Yeah,
So-
okay.
But he didn't go to learn English.
No, he didn't.
No, that's true.
True.
That's true.
True.
Yes, you need to see the opportunities, and you need to appreciate them. And that's something you need to work on too.
Opportunity. Very good.
Maybe next time we will all be personal trainers in this podcast.
Ooh, Kurt
I
Snapper.
really hope we have a podcast before that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of us. But
Yeah.
but yeah. The reason why I said that was that I was made fun of because we were driving in. I have to say that when Tom, your dad's here,
Okay,
we were
yeah.
driving in Vegas, going for a competition, and Tom Poole, Jason's dad, started laughing his ass off because apparently he realized that Marit, was the only one in the car of 4 people that only knew or spoke 2 languages.
Yeah. Yeah. He speaks 4, I speak 4.
Rutger
Right?
speaks 3.
3, right?
I have Norwegian
Right.
and English.
Yeah, then you do a fine job.
So that's what I'm saying.
Which was funny because normally Americans speak one language and make fun of people for not knowing any others.
Right.
So when you come with your 2 languages, you're actually very much above the standard.
Yes.
But in that car,
Yeah.
I was way below. I was way below. I know how to order a bottle of red wine in Italian. I'm
That's
doing
right.
good.
That's it. That's all you need.
And
That's
water.
all you need. Yes.
Hydration.
Gotta hydrate. Gotta hydrate. Excellent. Well, I really want to thank you, Dr. Eirik and Rutger, for being here. Personal trainer to be Rutger Gusters. And as always, Marit, you're amazing. And just remember, you matter. Unless you multiply yourself by the speed of light squared, then you're energy. But if you can't be energy, matter.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you felt we added something to your day and hopefully your life. If you want to learn more, subscribe to our newsletter and find us at integrated-human.com. That is integrated-human.com. Integrated Human on YouTube and other social media platforms. Have a great day and thank you again for listening. Love, light, and upgrade from us at the Integrated Human team.